Welcome to Millburn's public information meeting. We're going to speak today about burglaries and car thefts and the prevention of those. Today with us, we have myself, Chief Gilfetter, Lieutenant Tavares is to my left, Sergeant Barbosa is to my right, Detective Salemi is also to my right, along with Raquel from the Public Section Neighborhood Watch. The Millburn Police Department will be presenting the tips for prevention of home and car burglaries. You'll receive questions ahead of time that will be addressed in the presentation. As time permits, we will do our best to answer questions from the public that are placed in the Q&A section of the webinar and relate to car and home burglaries. We will be noting and reviewing all questions that are asked. We request questions to remain respectful and appropriate. So today, before we begin, we'll talk about the different departments in the police department. We'll first start off with the patrol division.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. As the chief introduced, I am Lieutenant Gil Tavares. I'm currently overseeing the patrol division of the police department. I supervise 32 officers and 9 supervisors. The officers are scheduled based on our operational needs. Our patrol division has officers scheduled to work around the clock. We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our officers on a daily basis conduct regular patrols of our neighborhoods. They respond to many types of calls for service, 911 emergencies, and they also conduct traffic and parking enforcement.
Next, we'll talk about our detective bureau.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Detective Salemi. So basically, for those of you that aren't familiar with our functions, primarily what we do is respond to crime scenes. We process those crime scenes. We investigate the crimes that occur within the township of Millburn. We are also responsible for handling all of our evidence and submitting that to state labs, be that DNA, fingerprints. We also pretty much go where the crime goes. So depending on our investigation, we'll obviously be in other jurisdictions as well.
And then next, we'll talk about our traffic division.
Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Barbosa. I'm the traffic supervisor. Some of the traffic bureau functions, in addition to maintaining our vehicle and equipment fleet, are as follows. We communicate with utility and construction companies regarding any construction work that will affect traffic in our township. As you're all aware, there are quite a few large projects currently ongoing, so that definitely keeps us busy. We also help organize and provide traffic safety for township events, like, for example, the Memorial Day Parade, which is coming up soon, and we hope to see you all there. Rocktoberfest, which occurs in October, along with other large township events. We assist with traffic safety when it comes to our schools and help them with events such as a Strawberry Festival. And we do the same with some religious institutions in town by providing traffic safety and security for certain large events throughout the year. Parking enforcement in the township is also handled by the Traffic Bureau, and when needed, we conduct traffic enforcement details. Lastly, we are members of and assist in handling problems that are brought to our attention via the Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board, Parking Ad Hoc, and we also have an open line of communication with the Neighborhood Watch Group.
So now we'll get into our presentation. We'll start first with trends in home burglaries and car thefts.
So in 2023, we started seeing a new trend when it comes to stolen vehicles. Individuals looking to steal vehicles, instead of just pulling on the door handles to see if the vehicle was left open, started going one step further and attempting to enter residence to obtain key fobs for those vehicles that they saw parked in the driveway or garages. I'm going to have Detective Salemi just explain a little bit more about this new trend and about the individuals that are committing these crimes.
So we typically deal with 2 different groups targeting our residents' vehicles and homes. The first group is primarily juveniles that operate in groups of 2 to 5. As Sergeant Barbosa mentioned, they have, we've had some cases where they have tried to enter the residence. Originally, they were just going around for unlocked doors and windows. We have a couple cases where they have used tools, specifically a crowbar in one instance. So those groups of 2 to 5 are generally coming to the township, during the day, but also at night as well. And they're trying to target vehicles. That's primarily what they're doing. So when they are entering a residence, it's to find those key fobs and attempt to take a vehicle. The second group is more organized. They appear to be working in a larger network and utilizing more planning. They are specifically targeting residents without cameras. They're also targeting and trying to make sure that the neighbors also don't have cameras. They are targeting homes with high value items, which that's generally cash, jewelry. They are typically entering from the back of a residence. You know, that's because they don't want to be seen or have somebody else call on them. We've had some cases where they're coming in through second story windows. Just to keep that in mind. For that particular group, we ask you guys to look for, something that's kind of out of the norm or suspicious in your area. Some of those include, they're typically arriving like out-of-state plates with rental vehicles. It would also be if you notice like any type of honking or a stranger approaches your residence and rings or knocks on the door. Specifically someone that's wearing, a mask and gloves, especially in the summer. That's not very typical behavior. Please keep that in mind if you do see that in the camera footage or while you're home.
We continue to remind residents to please not make it easy for these individuals. Do not leave your key fobs or any other valuables inside your vehicles.
The types of cars that we are seeing targeted are high-end motor vehicles. I'll describe them a little bit further later on.
We did get asked if there's been a lot of thefts involving the Kia or Hyundai Challenge, which has become popular due to social media, specifically TikTok. However, luckily, we have not had a lot of these incidents. The ones we have had have been at the mall.
Now I'll get into a couple of stats for about the past 4 years of residential burglaries and car thefts. So in 2021, we had 23 residential burglaries and 43 car thefts. In 2022, we had 10 residential burglaries and 47 car thefts. And in 2023 is where the trend started, where the criminals started breaking into houses to take the key fobs, the keys to steal the vehicles. We had 34 residential burglaries with 29 car thefts. But if you add the additional 9 cars that were stolen out of the garages, the total was 38. In 2024 so far, we've had, and this is at the end of March, 6 residential burglaries and 1 car theft. And at the end of last year, in March, we had 8 residential burglaries and already 14 car thefts. So we're really down on car thefts this year. It's due to us upping our enforcement and our residents assisting us with this. So now we'll get into some common questions that we've been asked. The first one is, what can the community do to help?
So last year, we had a small group of residents, including Raquel, who is here with us today, approach the police department because they wanted to do more themselves to keep their community safe and build a stronger partnership with the police department. So they started a neighborhood watch group in the Poet section. Today, there are neighborhood watch groups in all sections of town, and we want to encourage our residents to get involved and join. You can contact the police department, ask for myself or Detective Salemi, or you can contact Raquel, and we will help you sign up. Raquel is the main organizer of the Neighborhood Watch Group, and she's here to tell us a little bit more. And I just want to say she's done an amazing job over the last 12 months.
Thank you. And thanks for including me in this conversation. It was last year that I started the chat about just somebody's car got stolen on my block. It was in broad daylight. My kids were at the bus stop, and I thought it might be a good time to kind of get together and build some community and speak to each other. So, and coming to one of these safety meetings last year, it was suggested that we take this group and see if we can elevate it into a neighborhood watch. And so that is what I did. I got some very engaged, dedicated people in the Poet section to act as an advisory committee, and off I went. So now we have scaled up. Poets is big, but Deerfield and Hartshorn and Glenwood and Knollwood have been and Wyoming have been stood up. and we have over 1,000 members right now. We're organized in some of the more mature areas with local block coordinators. I'm sorry, with local coordinators, block captains. We have official roles and goals and stickers and signs, and that's been very helpful. I think it just helps us come together and build that community. So we have some established goals, but the first one, as I said, is just building the community. I think that plays the best into really helping us look out for each other. We know each other now. Again, we started in the Poets, and we all know each other much better and look out for each other. Someone's got a package on their door or somebody's out of town. It's been really nice. Second goal, prevent crime, enhance safety awareness, strengthen our partnership with the Melbourne Police, make sure everyone is reporting any suspicious incidents. So that's been a goal. And then educating the residents on what to do, what the trends are, what suspicious activity looks like. And then finally, just the group has been amazing at this. I haven't had to do much work, but maintaining a really positive, action-oriented atmosphere with proactive solutions. And that has been the tone of all of our groups. And that's just a tribute to all the residents who have been participating. So the benefits of the watch for us has been, like I mentioned, building the community and knowing your neighbors, but now there's a bit of a coordinated effort around, I'm leaving town. Can somebody get my mail? Can somebody do a perimeter check for me? There have been a lot of streets who have coordinated cameras. So from every angle, we can have a car, we can see a car go by. So even if our house isn't hit or our car isn't hit, we can be helpful in sharing footage across the neighborhood. Somebody's package got stolen and we were able to track it back to the top of the street where somebody got dropped off and walked straight down. And it's nice when you see it happen and see it unfold, to watch the community work together to try to help solve their own crimes. And there's been a number of incidents like that. I think it also puts less pressure on the police because we're saying, hey, there's a car parked outside your house. Is that your friend? Or should I call that one in because they've been there a while and it looks a little suspicious, et cetera. So those things are starting to happen. And I think that's been the main benefit for us. Working with the Melbourne Police has just been an amazing experience. Sergeant Barbosa has been our main contact. And he's like answering things all hours to really make sure that we feel safe and supported. It has led to some education sessions, which we do once a quarter, where we're really letting people know what's happening, what are the trends, what can they do? And those have been beneficial because they're truly interactive. If you haven't been to one, or if you have, you'll know that it is truly a positive interactive conversation. And I think that's helped towards some of our goals. So, and sharing ideas, concerns that I've been able to elevate up. We've gotten a bunch of things done together, including creating a program so that if people want to share their footage, if something happens to your neighbor or to you, we've got a mechanism to do that, which I can share with you. So next step for our efforts will be a little more, we're going to change it up from more informational to a little more social, and do things like walks and coffee talks and things like that with the police. So that'll be great to look forward to as the weather warms up. And then just to note a few accomplishments, this is truly a grassroots effort. It only is successful because of the residents coming together, because of them talking to each other, and because of the Melbourne Police coordinating with us. And a number of suspicious calls have led to arrests. So that's been great to know that there's been a few successful stories from all of that. And it's, part of the KPIs that we track against are some of the ones that were mentioned by the chief, but also, how are we contributing and how are we partnering together instead of asking the police to do all the work? How are we doing our part to come together as a community and really help stop this? So you might say, how do I join this amazing, fantastic group? I set up a splash page last night because I've been getting pinged one at a time, and I wanted to kind of get an organized effort around it. So there are individual registration forms for every group. So I have now put those together on a splash page, which I don't know if we're allowed to share later as a link, but I just set up a Google site, which is sites.google.com/view/Milburn Watch. You might have to like rewind that and hear it again. But you can always ping me as well. And then it's a bit of a process now. As of now, they're all kind of locked in and vetted. So you do have to be a member of that community, specifically that community, and it will be checked. So you feel safe as you communicate across those groups. And just huge thank yous to all the residents who have been helped make this successful and the Milburn Police.
I just wanted to add at the end of that, because you brought it up, Raquel, that if something is happening, to please call us immediately. We've had incidents where residents decide to wait till the morning, or sometimes they'll wait a day or two. It really helps, especially our detectives, Detective Salemi can attest to this. Call us right away, especially if it's something that's happening, if it's ongoing. Give us a call.
And just to kind of go off what Sergeant Barbosa just said, I get a lot of questions sometimes of what they should be saying when they're calling. The things that help us are like the description of the clothing. We want to know the specific behavior. Did they pull on the door handle? Did they go into the car? So if you can have that information, that definitely helps us as well as the camera footage.
I just want to thank Raquel for all her efforts. It's truly has been a great partnership between us. And she's put in a lot of work to get all these neighborhood watch programs set up. So we'll go on to our next question, which are, what are the common types of car thefts?
So for the most part, our still most common type of vehicle theft is cars that are unlocked with key fob in it. That's our number one. Obviously, with that being a crime of opportunity, it's just what occurs the most. We have seen, as Sergeant Barbosa mentioned before, we have seen a couple Kia Challenge car thefts at the mall. It's not very common in our area. Most of our motor vehicle thefts and burglaries involve the targeting of, like I mentioned before, high-end vehicles. So your BMWs, your Audis, your Range Rovers. Those are the ones Mercedes primarily targeted.
Thank you. This is a common question that's asked a lot. Are residents allowed to call as an anonymous person?
So I'll answer that question. Yes, residents are allowed to call and make anonymous reports. However, even though it's not required, we always prefer that residents leave their name and telephone numbers so that we could follow up for whatever reason might be necessary. There have been many occasions where additional information may be needed regarding an incident that's occurred. And without, those residents' contact information, we're just not able to speak with them and get that information that we need. While I'm speaking, I just wanted to touch base and add any situation or incident where, involving trespassing, where there's an unknown individual on your property where the public is not normally allowed access to, I would immediately call 911. Unknown people shouldn't be walking through your backyard. We just encourage residents to call that in, right away.
All right, thank you. So what are the current methods burglars use to get into homes?
Okay, so like I mentioned before, going through an unlocked door, window, that's again our most common. And that's typically the group of juveniles. They will try, they'll go around the house, try every door handle and every window to see what's open. We have had some other cases where they utilize the crowbar, like I mentioned before. They're typically targeting like a window or somewhere near the garage, because again, they're just looking for the vehicle. The more organized group has used second floor windows. We've literally arrested them with those collapsible ladders on them and taken those. So please keep that in mind. The organized group is also using primarily glass break tools. So they're going in through windows and doors that are made of glass. So again, those of you that have alarms with the glass break sensor, just make sure that's activated.
And what are burglars taking in burglaries?
So we know that the juveniles are taking the high-end motor vehicles, and that second group that I mentioned are taking high-value items, cash, jewelry, collector's items.
And then what are the clearance rates on home burglaries? And what we mean by clearance rates are how many of the burglaries are solved or arrests made.
So the average for the US is 13%. Ours is actually double that. We're at 25%. These cases are typically pretty difficult, and we really rely on our forensic evidence for these type of cases.
And what is a creative or innovative technique being deployed by other suburban police departments in the US that we should consider?
So we are currently looking at home evaluation program. What we're going to do is we're going to have 3 officers trained. They'll be training at the end of April, and the program should be online by May. It will be posted on the township website, and residents can sign up. And what this entails is residents are going to sign up, and then an officer is going to go to that resident's home, at which point the resident will give the officers a tour of the exterior and interior of their home. And at the end, the officer is going to make recommendations to the resident on how to make their home a harder target for burglars. And this might be as simple as cutting down large bushes that are blocking windows or exterior doors, or maybe adding motion lights to certain exterior areas of the property.
And with that program, we will announce when that's going to be available. Like Sergeant said, you'll be able to sign up through the website. We'll post an email there, and you'll be able to sign up and make an appointment. And the officer will come out to your house with a checklist, review your house, fill out the checklist, and then give you a copy of that so you'll know. The next question is, what can residents do to better protect their home, vehicles, etc.?
So the first thing we have for that, and Raquel, if you want to just confirm, I think primarily we're using Ring Neighborhood Watch, or is it kind of?
It's all over the place, but
Okay.
there's a lot of Ring because it's popular.
Okay, so I'm just gonna name Ring specifically just because most people know what it is, but whatever platform you're using. The system that you have at your front door is helpful, right? So that camera footage, especially in Essex County, camera footage is very important when we move forward with cases and when we're looking at charging these individuals. Please also consider installing them at your back entrance as well. That's also very helpful. It gives us time, it gives us point of entry, which obviously we get later on, but it just expedites the process. Also with that video footage, please make sure you're able to access that footage. And that, you know, if there's a subscription that you do have access to the footage. With that being said, the faster we get that footage, the faster we can then go find the person. We might already have them in custody and need the footage to confirm. So if you do, please be able to know how to use that. With that, just check your settings. The motion activated is usually the most common and probably the easiest to use. You know, a lot of times you can get the alerts right to your phone. Obviously, the faster you call us, the faster we're there.
If you're planning on being away from your home for an extended period of time, please do not share this information on social media or any public forums. We still see some residents doing this. Make sure to stop mail, newspaper, and package deliveries while you're away. Arrange with the post office to hold your mail, or for a friend or a neighbor to pick up your mail regularly. I know Raquel had mentioned this. If you're on a neighborhood watch group, just make sure that you let another member know. Leave lights on when you go out. If you're going to be away for an extended period of time, maybe use automatic timers to set those lights off in the evening. And of course, keep an eye out for your neighbors' homes. Make sure they do the same for yours. Never leave keys under doormats, flower pots, mailboxes, or other secret hiding places. Burglars typically know where these hidden spots are, and they will find the keys.
This is more so for us in the Detective Bureau, but if you are, or if unfortunately a situation does happen where your items are taken or stolen, we ask that you please keep a list or an inventory of your valuable items with important information like date of purchase, the value when you bought the item, any type of serial number or anything like that that comes with the item. We do look for those items, whether it be online, in pawn shops, and it is helpful to have that list. You'll also need it for the insurance company anyway. and they are able to help you maintain those lists and help you get the correct information on there. A picture is always great. If we do recover an item, having a picture to compare it to is super helpful. Again, keep a copy of that in a safe place. Like if you're storing your items in the safe, don't then put that list in the safe. Make sure you have that separately where you can access it. And next, sorry. If you do experience a break-in or lose your keys, please change your locks immediately. Also, if you're moving into a new home, make sure you change those locks. You don't know who has those keys before you take ownership, so please make sure you do that. And as far as your alarm system goes, it works when it's on, right? So please make sure you turn it on. Your audible alarm is probably the best, one of the best things that you could use, an audible alarm. We've watched countless videos. The audible alarm sends them running. So if you do have that, that's a great feature. It's important, especially if you have a lot of high value items in your home. And lastly, a smart lock. Sometimes we do forget to lock our doors. Sometimes we do leave something unlocked. A smart lock is automatic and it can, if you do forget, lock that door for you.
I just want to touch on the alarm part a little bit too. Alarms seem to be the best protection you can have. Whether if you're going to decide whether you're going to get a Ring doorbell or an alarm, get an alarm. They both work great in concert together because the Ring doorbell helps us after the fact. A lot of times homeowners, because they get a lot of packages or a squirrel runs by, don't look at their Ring doorbell all the time, but the alarm will always notify us because it goes through an alarm company. And like Detective Salemi said, once the alarm goes off, there's usually some type of audible announcement or alarm that goes off, which we've seen scare off the intruders a lot.
So I just wanted to touch, I think this is one we talk about often and it's very important. Make sure your cleaners, nannies, gardeners, any kind of contractor, construction company that you're going to have do any kind of work, that they're vetted. Do not let them bring any friends or relatives that are not part of that company that you vetted over. If you don't know who they are, they shouldn't be in your home. Obviously, ask your neighbors. If you're part of the neighborhood watch group, maybe ask for some referrals for any kind of cleaning company or landscaping company or contracting.
We have seen in the past where cleaning companies, not specifically companies, but people just hire cleaning people on their own, or they hire a nanny on their own, and they've come into their home and they've told their friends or a relative or somebody who the homeowner doesn't even know, and they wind up being one of the burglars, or someone just steals something out of their home when they're over there visiting. So that's a thing to keep in mind.
Again, just a little repetitive, but please make sure you lock your doors and windows. And I'm gonna note actually your second floor windows as well. Make sure those are locked. Again, if you could put an audible alarm on your window, even better. A glass break on the window or a glass break on the doors is also very helpful. We also ask that you cut back your bushes and trees, and whether it be the front of your property or the back. Those are a great place for a burglar to hide. And we have had several cases where they are hiding. You may have seen us checking your backyard or running through it. They are, kind of going through a residential area. Again, you might have heard the drone. With that being said, that just means that typically that we are looking for somebody. When you do see police activity in your backyard or you do hear the drone, we do ask that you please stay inside and visually check your backyard. Obviously, if anybody's back there that's not supposed to be back there, please call us immediately. And from the safety of your home, and then we'll take care of the rest. If it seems suspicious or unusual, just call us and we'll check it out for you. Also, don't keep large amounts of cash or jewelry unsecured in your home. The first place a burglar is going to go is probably your master bedroom, the closets. Try to keep it in non-typical places if you do have those type of items. We also get asked a question about whether you should park your car in the garage or, in the driveway. If you can, the garage is better. Google Maps is a feature we're seeing some burglars use where they're not driving around anymore. With technology advancing, they are able to just check Google Maps and kind of see what cars are out there. Again, don't leave your car keys in your car, but not only that, a lot of us leave our keys as soon as we walk out of the garage, right after that inner door. Make sure you lock that inner door and try not to keep your keys, you know, right there where they're easier to access.
We have seen where the homeowners will enter in the garage and just hang them up on a hook, like right next to the car. We don't want you to do that, or put them right near the door as they're walking into their house. Those are two common things residents do.
Yeah, just make sure you lock your inner garage door. I'm not sure if Detective Salemi mentioned that already. And I'm just gonna bring up again, just because it comes up a lot with the neighborhood watch group. If there is something going on, if there is police activity outside your home or on your street, just please do not get involved, do not confront these individuals. Call the police, let us handle the incident in a professional and safe manner.
Also, like vehicle and valuable item tracking. If you do have that feature, just please make sure you know how to log in and access it in real time. A lot of times, especially with the vehicles, what we're seeing is the internal GPS unit is removed very quickly. So there won't be tracking typically from the manufacturer. So if you do have something separate, make sure where you're putting it, it can't be accessed by somebody else. And then further, you're able to access it and give us that information. Also, please secure your Wi-Fi networks, for those of you that don't. Securing that network, making sure it's updated, and also knowing how to use it and check for an unauthorized use. If someone's accessing your Wi-Fi that shouldn't be, if you're, you know, via Bluetooth, if you are able to see that, you know, that's always a benefit.
All right. Next, we'll get into some proactive measures that the police department has been taking and that are currently taking now.
So we've been implementing a number of proactive measures to help residents and address the current crime trends. One of the measures that we've been taking is on a regular basis, we've been supplementing our patrols with burglary details. So on these details, officers are assigned according to the areas of the town that have seen increase in crime. The township has also an ongoing extensive project installing a fiber optic cable around town. With this fiber optic connection, a number of surveillance cameras and automated license plate readers have been installed and strategically placed, and there are more going up as time goes by.
So these license plate readers, just to add on to that, help us identify stolen vehicles or vehicles that are wanted from other towns, including our own. When they enter a town, we've strategically put these license plate readers in certain areas of town, mainly going in and out of our township. So it helps us identify when these vehicles enter.
These special details that we have scheduled, to supplement our patrols, are also being conducted undercover and with unmarked vehicles. We've, as the officers mentioned earlier, we have a drone unit that we've implemented. We have several officers trained on the drone use. We have 2 drones in a drone-equipped vehicle. There is always at least one drone operator on duty in the event that there is an incident. The drone is used to assist with aerial searches for any suspects, and they've proven effective on many occasions already. Some measures to help residents, which I'm not sure if many are aware of, but the police department does have a vacant house form. This form could be used by residents to inform the police department when they're away for an extended period of time. And on that form, you know, not only letting us know that you'll be away, but you could share with us, you know, contact information should there be any type of situation that we would need to make contact with either the resident or an emergency contact, that information is available.
So currently this form is a paper form that you come into the police department, you fill out, and we're working on getting that to be on the township website. That'll be form fillable. You can email it.
The police department has also started putting out notifications on residential burglaries and attempted burglaries to keep the residents informed. So for any residents who aren't receiving those notifications, you can sign up on the township's webpage for these emergency alerts. The link to sign up for the notifications is on, like I said, the township's homepage. If you navigate to the township's homepage, you'll see a large button that's labeled Milburn Alert. And if you click on that, it'll direct you to the page where you can enter your information and sign up for those notifications. And like was mentioned earlier, the home evaluation program, that's in progress right now. As Sergeant Barboza mentioned earlier, it's a program where residents could schedule an appointment and have one of our community policing officers come out to their homes and conduct safety assessments.
And I think that's something that's gonna be very beneficial to the residents and, especially when you get to the scene of a residential burglary, sometimes right away, we're able to tell like that this home was probably a soft target. Either they had really large bushes in front of their doors and windows, or sometimes the lighting was very, very poor. So I really hope that our residents take advantage of this.
Right now, the officers they're starting to conduct their training for this, which includes a test after the 40 hours of training. And then by the end of May, beginning of June, we should have that all up and running. And the last thing I want to speak about is that we just are asking our residents to continue to contact our legislators about these making stricter laws for burglaries and car thefts, stricter sentencing, and have them pull back on the bail reform, because when this explosion of car thefts happened, it seems to correlate when bail reform was implemented back a number of years ago. And at this time, we'll take some additional questions that are coming through Q&A.
So there's a resident who asks, do vehicle tracking devices help? And if so, do you have any recommendations on which ones?
I can take that. So they do. We have recovered cars in the past with tracking very quickly, or even items. Sometimes we've had some cases where there might be an AirPod or something inside the purse, or something inside a purse maybe that was stolen, or something that was taken. There is a trackable item in there. We just get to it quicker. Like we'll drive right over it and go get it. Now, as far as recommending an item, I can't really recommend one. As far as I'm still kind of looking at what's best. We talked originally about some of those air tags, but what I've seen in the past is it's notifying the criminal that it's in there, and depending on where it's secured, they're taking it out and throwing it out the window or discarding it. So until we find kind of a better tracking device, no, I don't have a recommendation, unfortunately.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's not 100%.
Yeah, it would almost need to be taped somewhere or secured somewhere where someone can't access it, hidden well enough.
Right, and we're also just receiving questions, of course, ahead of time, and we address them in the presentation, and we're going to take questions through the Q&A. We'll be noting and reviewing all these questions that are asked, and we request that the questions remain respectful and appropriate. Also on the vehicle locating, most cars now, they have that already embedded into their cars. But what we, like Dr. Salemi said already, is that once the car is taken and they get it to sort of a secluded area, they wind up removing the tracking device out of the car. So it helps us to a point, but then a lot of times it gets removed.
It also takes time to set up, sorry. It also takes time to set up. So if you don't have the subscription already, by the time you get it, it could easily be removed.
We have another resident who stated that they noticed the township is utilizing cars in different neighborhoods and says it's a positive development. They are wondering if you intend to continue this practice and grow it.
We do intend to practice. So we've been putting these cars in areas that have seen an uptick in burglaries and car thefts as a preventative measure. And that will conclude our presentation today. Thank you for joining us.